Hello, and welcome back to the many channels and places that you can watch my sweet friend Amber Coleman and myself talk about loans, all the things you need to know about moving to Las Vegas, and honestly, anything and everything we freaking feel like it because this is our first time being back in the same room, and
I'm like, we get to be together. Yay!
So we're together again, together at last. I won't sing yet, but we're super excited today. We've been really excited about this specific live stream today because we're going to be talking about VA loans.
Now, and that's our favorite subject.
It's our favorite subject. We love our veterans. We're so grateful for the service that you've given to our country and what you've given to the American people. And we're so excited to be able to talk about this because you might think you know about VA loans. I know you thought you knew everything. I thought I knew everything, but we learn something new every day.
We
right?
do. Yeah, yes. We learned something new today just researching it for you.
Look, this girl brought in the big wigs of her company at Guild Mortgage today to give us information about stuff that we are learning that is just generating more and more excitement about what we're talking about. So if you are a veteran, if you know a veteran, first of all, tell them thank you. And if you are one, thank you.
Yes.
We do a lot of business with veterans here in Las Vegas, and it's just such an honor and a pleasure to be able to serve that community. This is your favorite. Tell me a little bit about why it's so important to you.
Well, I'm the daughter of a veteran.
So me too.
So the military is what brought my parents. I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I think I said that before, right? But I was actually born on Nellis Air Force Base. So
so she's really, truly a Las Vegas native, right?
Yeah. Truly a Las Vegas native that was born like at the hospital on the Air Force Base.
I love it. I love it.
Because my dad was military. That's what brought them to Vegas. And then they fell in love with Vegas and never left.
Right.
So
we're so interwoven. Tell me what so because it's your roots to your family, you're obviously pay it back, pay it forward all the time to this community. A lot of people close down when they hear about VA loans because they're like, well, that's not me. But we have some information today that it may apply to you if you start dating a veteran, if you start moving in with a veteran. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with life as it evolves. So, and listen, I
love how you think about it like that.
I'm footloose and fancies free. So I want to know this information because even though it doesn't affect me directly.
You want to date a veteran too.
I mean, I'm open to dating a veteran. I'm open to dating an active duty. I mean, you name it. My phone number is at the bottom. Hold on, let me put my phone number at the bottom.
Make sure to scroll that.
My phone number is at the bottom of the screen here. So if you guys want to get in touch with me, whether it's for a date or not, I am available. But all that being said, we're giving a few minutes for everybody to join us. It's just exciting today. We're excited because we are making a lot of headway in our plans to bring you new information and programmed information every single week. So I don't know if you've joined us for the last couple of weeks. Last week, we talked about 2025 new loan programs, new grant programs, where this woman laid it down. Like she just boom. I was like, we're going to have to do a part two. What are we doing here?
We probably could do a part two and part three.
19 is what we're doing. So we did that. This week, we're doing the VA loans. The following week, next week, I'm going to be doing a live Q&A that's Ask Me Anything About Moving to Las Vegas. So join me live. This girl's going to be at an event doing something very special that she won't let me talk about. I can't talk about it. And then in a few weeks, we're going to actually talk about why the Fed and the news media and the, like all the stuff that we hear in the news affects everything and how it really does affect the bottom line when it comes to you buying a home so that you can be smarter about things.
Yeah,
right?
What to listen for, because sometimes people just listen to the headlines and that's not what's moving everything.
Headlines are often made to make things move in a different direction. So we're going to talk about it more to come. So let's jump into VA loans. So first and foremost, if you are thinking about moving to Vegas or honestly, Amber is a licensed loan officer or loan originator in a billion places.
It down.
I'm gonna create an image for you.
I'll create it one day.
She's got like 1,000 states that she represents.
There's 1,000 states out there.
But so if you're interested, just text the number on the screen, or again for a date or for a loan, you let me know. Also, there's a link in the description of every single video on my channel as well as Amber's and the comment box. So we want to talk to you, even if it's like 10 years from now you're thinking about moving, we still want to know. So today's all about veterans. Dun, 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 dun. That's the presidential thing.
I love how you always like to make the music,
I love it. So we're gonna start with some things that you probably do know, or some things that are more common knowledge about VA loans. So I'm gonna put it over to you. I'm gonna operate the cool graphics that we've come up with. But please stay till the end because we're actually gonna be unloading some stuff that we learned today for you. A couple of things, new rules that just came out. So we want to definitely keep you
stay because there's every day I talk to veterans, right? And there's so many things that like, I'm like, oh, dang, there should be a class right when you get your VA benefits that say you could do this, this, and this, but they don't really want to tell you how to work the system
so
either.
This is
so
the
that's
class.
Really our job, right?
If you know a veteran, if you love a veteran, if you meet a veteran, please send this link to them so they can learn. We really want you guys to know how to maximize that benefit. We want to make sure that there is no stone unturned for you to be able to get what you need. So, all right, here we go. All right, let's go. Let's talk about some of the first things or some things that that people should know or maybe do know.
Yeah. So the high level stuff. So no PMI. Okay. Sometimes veterans don't realize how big of a deal this is. So if you do a FHA loan, that's 3.5% down, you have PMI on it, so it adds to your monthly payment. Conventional loan with less than 20% down has PMI on it, so definitely adds to your monthly payment. Plus you're putting down payment on all those loans, right? This one, no down payment, and there's no PMI.
Yep.
The only thing there is added to a VA loan is I'm drawing a blank on it right now.
That's okay.
There's a VA funding fee,
right?
That's added to a VA loan. But if you're disabled or have any part VA disability,
right,
that's all waived. And if you're putting down extra money, then that's lowered too.
Right. So, but the no PMI is a big deal because people who call us and say, well, I don't want to get an FHA loan. First of all, there's a lot of negative press about PMI, which, I mean, who wants to pay more money than you need to?
Yeah.
So veterans are eliminated from that conversation altogether. They don't need to worry about it. They don't need to stress. So less of a monthly payment.
Your payment is going to be better than any other loan out there. So your benefit is way better than anything anybody else has.
So not only is it zero down, I think that's like a no-brainer. Everybody knows that you can put a zero, you can do a zero down loan if you want to. And if you want to put money down, that always helps the case, right? But then there's no PMI.
Just to talk about the zero down part of it though, I had a veteran call me yesterday and said, my friend told me from he was a loan officer in a different state or whatever, that if you're putting a lot of money down, it's better to go conventional. So I said, well, let's just pull the numbers. Let's do VA and let's do conventional and see what's better. And the VA was better by a long shot because they have better rates on theirs.
That's it.
Conventional does.
So that's actually the next one up here. Competitive interest rates is a big deal that I don't think a lot of people realize. The VA loan gets the best interest rate out there, correct?
It's similar to an FHA loan. Okay. Like usually the VA is pretty close to the FHA loan, but the FHA again has that mortgage insurance and then it doesn't have the down payment. Right. So again, when yesterday I was comparing it and it was a lot different than conventional because conventional you can avoid that mortgage insurance after you have so much equity or if you put so much down, but they always have a little higher rate than the government loans.
So really quick, I see a few new people joining us. If you're joining us live, stay till the end. We're announcing some new rules with the VA loans that nobody is talking about that we just learned about. Super excited about that. Right now we're running through the things that most of you may know or may not know. And we're all about maximizing that benefit for you today. If you're a veteran, if you know a veteran, but there's some stuff that I was gobsmacked about that I learned about today. So I'm not in loans. I'm not in loans for a reason. I don't do math in my head or even math at all, but I partner with smart ones who do. So
she's very smart. She's selling herself short right
there. Thank you. I wasn't fishing, but I'll take that. Thank you. While you're watching us, guys, if you have questions that don't pertain to this, please feel free to drop it in the comments. We always leave space at the end of the live stream to talk to you and just to give you kind of feedback. Stay tuned. Hang with us. We're only going to be for about an hour. We love you. Let's do this. It's new. Let's go. Okay. Competitive interest rates. So they do, to your point, long shot better than some of the stuff that they were told was going to be better, right? That veteran.
It was way better compared to a conventional loan.
I love it.
I mean, any loan, conventional FHA, if you're a veteran, you don't want to look at anything else.
So let's talk about credit, Amber. So I'm just going to be real with you when I say that every single person that reaches out, every single person, I can't say every single because some people have really great credit, but every single person is hesitant to talk about their credit with me because it feels like it's like this shroud of shame or something. Everybody's online and making you feel badly if you have a low credit score. This life happens, guys. Life happens.
Life has hit all of us.
If you're a perpetual person who just on purpose doesn't pay their bills and things like that, that's another conversation. And there's still no judgment. That's how you're living your life. No biggie. But a lot of people reach out and they're so scared to talk about their credit. And so we are constantly telling you, if you have issues with your credit, this is a judge-free zone. We don't judge. We never will judge. It's just, we've had life happen to us too. Am I right?
We've definitely had life hit us. It's hit hard sometimes. And that's why if life hits, it hits. And sometimes you just need a game plan on how to get there.
And that's what she's willing to do. Right.
Yeah. Because giving you a game plan is me paying it forward.
We're paying it forward for sure.
Yeah. But let's talk about how VA looks at the credit. So with VA, one thing that you might not know is you don't actually have to have a credit score or a good credit score. They don't have any minimums for credit.
At all?
VA doesn't.
Oh.
Now every lender
actually know
has every lender has their own like limits.
Right.
Like our limit for 100% at Guild for 100% financing is 540.
Okay.
So you can go really low at 100% financing. Now, VA has an automated system that you'll run through to make sure that it runs. But when you're talking about flexible credit requirements, that's because if it doesn't run through the system, VA is a very common sense underwrite.
Love that.
So I can go in and say, okay, and I've done this, like I can tell you stories just this week that have happened where we've gotten approvals on VAs like this. So like if something happened in life to make it like an isolated incident that hurt your credit, we can go in and explain that with proof and show that, hey, this is something that was just an isolated incident. Now it has to be a very good explanation. Like sometimes the explanations, if they're kind of related to your VA disability or something like that, then we can go with it. Just as a quick story that I've said it on other things too. At one point I had a client that this was probably the most dramatic one, right? So I've had a client that he was overseas, stationed overseas. He was blown off he was like one of the mechanics on the aircraft. So he's blown off the top of it, hurt his back major, went in for surgery at the VA, and they put the wrong thing in his back. So he's paralyzed from the neck down. It took months and months and months to be able to get his VA benefits to come through, and some serious drama. And obviously within that time, you're not making any money. Right. So you
don't pay then you just figure it out.
You don't pay your bills. When I was doing his loan, the credit was really, really, really low, but we had an isolated event that happened that we can go in and we can prove and, go beyond what the credit shows. This is the only loan that you can really show major things happen, and VA has a heart. That's the thing is, like, when you're talking about common sense underwriting, it's that they have a heart, because most of the time you're just looking at what the computer shows and you go by like the automated system on the computer. VA does have an automated system, but if it doesn't run because it's something that needs to be explained, then we write a letter to explain it.
Until you're able to get everything all dialed in.
He got his house. The cool thing about that guy is that when he got his house, one of the veterans, like heroes, they were waiting for him to close on his house so they can put all the stairwell, like, so they can
so they retrofitted the house to make it disabled.
Did the shower, did everything.
ADA compliant. Wow.
They went in before he moved in, they were waiting for me to close so that they can go in and take care of that house.
Warming my heart already. Don't make me cry today. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. So all in though, like this gentleman that you just spoke about, and anyone else, like even with the VA loan, more so with the VA loan, there's a lot more understanding. There's a lot more leeway in terms of hearing the conversation related to what might have happened. So don't let credit stop you. That's the main goal. All right, let's talk about assumable loans. So let me just pause you before you go into the VA side of things. Assumable loans has been a very hot, like a what do they call those, like trending topic, if you will, over the last few years. Trendy.
Is it still trendy, or is it going down?
I haven't heard it in a couple months, but last year, and when the rates kind of got higher and everybody was sitting here wanting to sell their house, but they have a 2.5% rate or whatever it was that they had, they were sitting and waiting. Assumable loans became a conversation that was really loud for a while there. The reality of the situation is that I didn't see a lot of them go through. I think I might have known of one in the last 2-3 years that have gone through. It's a great conversation. I love it for the VA, because VA buyers and sellers, I think this is a beautiful benefit, but it is not as trendy and something that is readily available or even encouraged, or accepted, or even talked about with negotiations with normal sellers. So for it to be with normal non-veteran sellers, so if it's really big with VA and an option for VA, this is a beautiful thing, because most people won't even entertain it. I love this for you. Okay, tell us what an assumable loan is for VA.
So an assumable loan is like, let's say somebody bought their house during COVID when rates were 2%, right? And they locked in the rate at 2%. Now the rates are just a little higher than that.
Just a little higher. More normalized. It's not free candy anymore.
It's more of a normal rate right now, right? So now that the rates are a little bit higher, that person wants to sell their house. So somebody can come in. Now, when we're talking about VA loans, I'm going to come in two different ways here, okay? So somebody can come in and they can assume, as long as they can qualify, they can assume that rate at the same loan amount that the person that took out the loan originally. So
do I have to be a veteran to assume that loan?
That's the second part that I was going to talk about. Yeah. So anybody can assume it. However, if you're a veteran and you're going to make your loan assumable, like you're going to sell it with the assumable part of it, you want to make sure that you're not. So if you're, I would assume it to another veteran, and here's
That's
why.
the goal. The goal is to assume it to another veteran
Yeah,
if possible.
and here's why. So if you assume it to somebody that's not a veteran, your eligibility stays with that house. So you can't then, it'll limit you on what you go buy in the future.
Got it.
So if you're going to buy something in the future, you don't want to do the assumable if it's not a veteran.
Right.
Right. Because you want to keep your eligibility open for you. Right. But if you're going to assume it to another veteran, then their eligibility takes over
That's
that
amazing.
house.
And then you're freed up.
Free, but then they get that beautiful rate.
That's awesome.
Now, the only other thing to look for too is that when, like, if you have that rate at 2% and you bought it when house prices were a lot lower, now you're going to sell that house for a lot more.
Right.
So the person buying it has to be able to assume the loan you received and then come in with the difference.
Got it.
And so, you know, you're not assuming a zero down loan.
All
Basically,
right.
You're coming in with the difference of what their loan was versus what they're selling it for now.
So that's a lot more. That's not the average realtor who like knows, you know, who just got their license 2 years ago and doesn't know how to do that. That's some tricky stuff to be able to work with. So a lender like Amber, who knows very much the details that go into all of that and has worked in those types of scenarios, is someone that you want to work with if you're wanting to do an assumable loan or at least offer it, right?
Well, the only thing is I don't do the assumables. So the assumable is going to be done through the company that services.
Right. No, I just meant like who could educate them during the process.
Yeah, I can definitely
and you're not
educate
physically doing the lending, but no, the education process. So working with Amber to like discuss like what loan you want to move forward with and all of your VA benefits is a good starting point. And working with an agent who's got a close connection who understands this as well really gives you an opportunity to understand it fully so that you can go out with the strongest idea of what you can present to the world in terms of what you're offering with your listing. So you can move on and buy that house that you really want, you know, get rid of this one, buy the next one, right?
Exactly.
I love it. Okay. No prepayment penalty. Tell me this. I love this.
No, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. So when you go to sell your house or if you go to refinance it, let's just say you lock in today, rates dropping a little bit. That's another subject because it's very easy it's called an IRRL to be able to lower your rates.
In real life is what IRL really means. Just so you know.
That was a good, you caught onto that fast. Look at you.
That's what it is. It's a social media thing. It's IRL.
Oh, see,
it's like FML.
I saw that, I'd be like, who's doing the VA?
Oh my God, how funny. I love that. We're doing this IRL today.
It's IRRL.
Oh, yeah. In real life. We're doing this. Sorry, I had to.
Okay, but if you want to sell that house at any time, there's no penalty on it.
That's awesome. I love that. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about funding fee flexibility. So there is, while there is not the PMI when you do a VA loan, which is an incredible gift. I love that. There's a funding fee, but there is flexibility with that. Tell me why.
So if it's your first time using VA, your funding fee is like 2.15%. Second time using VA, it's a little bit higher than that. And then, but if you have any VA disability, any percentage VA disability, then that funding fee is totally waived.
I love that. I love that. See, we're taking care of veterans and the disabled veterans. See, this is work.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about some new rules. Okay.
Well, this isn't a new rule, but nobody really
first of all,
knows
this
about
is new to me rule.
Yeah.
So this is new to me. You may not know this, veterans or loved ones of veterans, but please tell me what debt payoff to qualify means.
Okay, so
it's new to me. It's new.
So sometimes, okay, I've had a couple clients that I've done this with. Okay, so a client is coming to get qualified for a loan, right? Picks out a house that's a little bit higher than what qualifications needs, and I can't get it to approve, and I don't fit into the manual underwrite debt to income.
Meaning that they have a little too much debt to get that.
Yeah,
approved.
Because they're buying something higher than what they're approved for. There's a lot of different cases on this one, but that's the first one that came to my mind. So what we did is we asked for seller contributions from the seller to pay off the veteran's debt.
To get them to qualify for the
This is
loan.
the only loan out there. Like FHA doesn't do this, conventional doesn't do this, but VA will allow a seller to pay off the debts to qualify for a loan.
So when we ask, sorry to interrupt you, but when we ask for closing costs and everybody's, I want a credit from the seller for this or a money from that, this is another conversation we can have that we've never been able to have. I've never had this happen. So that's amazing, but we've never been able to have, with the seller about paying off debt. So, cause it's a matter of like, listen, I love this house. It's just about 10,000 more than I really want, that I can afford, or that I can, because of this other thing that I have to pay off. That's insane. That's awesome.
Yeah. This is super cool that you could do that. So, but one of those debts too, like onto the next slide point,
Yep.
can be like if you have a lease that you need to
This
get out
was
of.
crazy to me.
So this one, I was digging the other day trying to save a file. This is what I do, right?
I love
I try to
this.
save the files, right? And figure out a way to make it work. And I was like, wait, if we can pay off debts, then we should be able to pay off somebody's lease. So I had a client that had like $4,000 left on a lease, but can't stand the apartment.
Love it.
Which, you know, like a lot of us have
Right.
that experience in apartments, can't stand the apartment and just wants to get out of it. And I was like, wait, you're a veteran? So you can, so then I went and looked it up and went to underwriting and everything. If you get an invoice that says, here's how much you owe to be able to break that lease, the seller can pay for that lease to be paid off.
It can be contribution from the seller.
Just
so part
like
of
they
your
could pay
closing
for your
costs or
bills.
whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Here's where this comes into play and why I
Mhm.
got stoked. I did a backflip, but you missed it. I pulled my back. It's fine. I won't do it again. But here's why this is cool. I am always telling you guys on this channel that please call me. I don't care if you're not moving for 5 or 10 years. I don't care if you're not quite ready. I don't care if you still have a lease. I don't care. This is the conversation that I would love to be able to have with some of you who do qualify for veteran benefits. I'm not going to guarantee that we're going to get the seller to give you anything, because that's just a negotiation component, and the market's going to dictate what that really is. However, if you are someone who's sitting back going, I know the rates are going to go up. I know the houses are getting more expensive. I know whatever your fears are, please reach out. Let me know. And if part of that is a lease or possibly a little bit too much debt, and to put you to where you really want to be to get the house you need, that extra bedroom, that yard, whatever that looks like, we can work a plan out. And if this is something we need done, we will go out to the market well before you're ready, knowing what we have to negotiate. And you just have to be patient with us being able to find a seller and the market being right. Let me put that out there. And the market being correct and aligned for this to be able to negotiate. But this, my friends, is a beautiful thing. Do you know how many people have called me in January, literally last month? It's February, right? It's February, January. I got about 30 phone calls in about a 2-week period of time with similar conversation related to, I just re-signed my lease. I just found your channel. I didn't know I could reach out to you so early, but I just re-signed my lease. I have a year left. And I was like, cool, then let's start having you talk to Amber to get qualified, whether they were veterans or not, because either way, there's either going to be a loophole we can talk to you about within your lease, or you're a veteran that we can then look to negotiate this kind of stuff with. So this is a beautiful thing. So stay tuned. We got more coming. Okay. Let's talk about the fact that you can do multiple VA loans when qualified. So this is if you qualify for it. What does that mean?
This is what most veterans don't realize.
Okay.
Like, this is the thing that's not very common out there. So the people that do know it, though, I've seen people work the system for 20, 30 years. And by the time they're retired, they're like multimillionaires.
I love it. Tell me more. Tell me more.
I mean, so with VA, if you buy, okay, so let's just say you buy your first house at like 300,000, right? A lot of people think I can only have one VA, so I can only do that. But the VA eligibility for 2 houses, that's the county limit. So the county limit right now is 806,500 in Clark County, right? So if you have a $300,000 loan, then you have the difference left to buy another house.
Wow.
Now, the only stipulation is that the house that you're vacating, there has to be a reason why you're vacating that. Moving to something bigger is usually what you're going to be doing.
What about, I don't like the kitchen.
Better area.
Could that be a reason I'm vacating?
I haven't put that one together in a lot of explanation.
Let's try it.
But like moving to a better area, moving closer to work, you know, like a lot of times people will move from state to state. So like yesterday, I was just talking to one, he was in like a state that had really cheap like housing, so he only had 100,000 on his VA.
Wow.
And it's coming out here to be able to buy a bigger place.
Wow.
So you can double it up, and he had no idea too that you could do 2 VA loans. He thought he was limited to conventional.
Yeah, I thought the way it worked with veterans, and this is why I'm so happy to have Amber in my corners, because she teaches me every time we hang out. I thought as a veteran, you had to be the primary resident of the home that your loan was on. You could not, like, there was no changing the fact that if you used your loan on this one, it had to be sold, and that all of that had to move around.
Yeah, but there's life that happens in between that. So like, that's the thing. You have to put a letter of explanation together, and then you go back to your eligibility
I love
to
it.
be able to see how much you could do. But here's the thing, even if you go over that eligibility, so say you with the 2 houses together, you're at 900,000, right? you're not paying that full difference between 806, 500 and 900,000.
Right.
There's a percentage, there's a calculation of what you pay. So then your down payment's still probably going to be less than like a conventional loan.
I freaking
and
love
then
it.
you don't have mortgage insurance.
I freaking love it.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Cool? See,
this is why VA is like my favorite thing to talk about.
God, I love
There's so many little nuances to it.
A couple of things. If you're a veteran, first of all, we love you. We thank you. We're so grateful. Please, if you're watching this, if you know a veteran, if you love a veteran, if you high-fived one on the way out the bank today, whatever that looks like, please send this link to them. We want to make sure people are fully and well aware of all the nuances to this, because there's a lot of miseducation and misrepresentation and just confusion, like there is with everything related to buying a home. So please let us know. Also, comment like it's hot in the box below. Let us know that you love us, that you're here for us, that you hate us. I don't care. Let us know something, but ask us questions while we're live. We'd love to answer your questions here in a few minutes. We're moving on to some stuff. Stay tuned. Stuff that nobody knew before today, at least not me, and maybe not you. I don't know if you did, but I definitely didn't know today. And there's a new rule that nobody's talking about. Hang tight. Here we come. All right. Common sense underwriting. Give me an understanding of that. I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, where they're just more open to conversation. Give me another story about where this might have happened. Do you have another example?
Okay, so yeah, I have a veteran. We just barely got her approved. So what VA does not like to see is they don't like to see late in the last 12 months.
Okay.
They don't like to see late payments in the last 12 months. They really don't like collections.
Got it.
Right? They really don't like collections at all. So we have to explain all that stuff, right? So I had a veteran, when she sat down and told me the story, no joke, it messed me up for like a couple hours. Wow. I was like, oh, this is deep. Like, how do I even put that in writing?
The story of why she had low like credit rating.
Story, yeah, because you're asking questions about like why the credit went lower. When she told me the story, I was like, oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Like it was deep.
Yeah.
So to help write that in a letter was a pretty deep thing, right? But because VA has like common sense underwriting, if it's something that happened in life that is not normal to happen, right? And there's a definite thing there that led to that item on the credit,
right?
Then they can look past
that. They
that.
listen, because I know with other lenders, or not other lenders, pardon me, other loan programs, it's not as flexible, right? There's a lot of guidelines that have to be met, and a lot of heart can't be put into the mix of it. It's a very kind of, not always, but a very far more black and white than when it comes to veterans. But there seems to be an open space for conversation and explanation. And it doesn't guarantee you're going to be approved, doesn't guarantee things are going to be accepted, but it feels to me like there's just there's a lot more understanding.
Yeah. If it's like that, I always say, let's get you approved before you find the house. Because we don't, like we need to maneuver some things, right?
Well, and that's the rule anyway, guys. We don't go shopping for houses anymore, and ever, honestly, unless you're approved. But this is why.
Yeah, we need to spend some time on it. But when you talk about lenders, though, not all lenders do common sense lending like this. So this is underwriter to underwriter. This is like depending on like this is an underwriter looking at it. And I can say like my underwriters that do my VAs, they're pretty good.
That's awesome.
Because I'm able to help a lot of veterans because
kissing babies, kissing veterans, maybe, I don't know, something, and making dreams come true. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Drum roll, Amber. I'm really excited. The new rule that I just learned about, which I'm sorry.
It is a new rule this year. This is a new rule this year.
I'm stoked about it. Non-veteran can be added to the loan. Tell me about that.
Okay. So that was always, and so there's stipulations to this. So hang out while we say this, okay? So the rule to VAs was always that it's only the veteran and the spouse, because people always call me and say, well, I'm going to add this COBRA, I'm going to add that COBRA, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We can't do that on VA loans. That's an FHA loan kind of thing.
Like if two friends want to move in together, or two boyfriend, girlfriend, things like that, right?
Yeah. But so the new rule is if we want to add a new veteran to the loan, we're gonna the down payment on that's like 15%. You do have to put money down on
a non-veteran to the loan.
If you're gonna, so like we have a veteran on the loan, you don't qualify for the house by yourself, so you're gonna add a non-veteran to the loan to help qualify,
your spouse, right?
To help you qualify. Then you have to put down 15% to be able to do that loan. But like before, you couldn't do it at all.
Right.
So a lot of times people say if you have money to put down, this helps you to be able to get into the house that you want.
Wow.
Because maybe you're living with somebody, but there's not a relationship there.
Wow.
That's a good one though, right?
Well, that's just amazing. Because listen, not everybody wants to get married. Let's just be real.
But
I'm just giving you the look. let's be real. Not everybody wants to get married. And if I was dating a veteran, or if I was like wanting to be in an experience that would be, we want to buy a house together, we want to live our life together. I don't necessarily want to have to go through getting married to be able to help qualify for this loan or utilize your veteran benefits.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to be able to do that. You can do that with 15%
with
down.
15% down. And in Nevada, you can't use this, but in other states, just so we're throwing it out there and helping everybody.
We want you guys to be educated.
We're all about good karma, right?
And also, I may only focus on Nevada today, but she focuses on many states. So we want to make sure you know this for anywhere you might live.
Yeah. So states that look at common law marriage, so states that recognize common law marriage, that's counted on VA. So like if you're not married, but you're considered common law married, you can use that on VA, but you have to be specific to states.
It could even
Nevada
be like,
doesn't look at common law, so Nevada doesn't fit within
well, it
that.
could even be like best friends. Like, look at the Golden Girls. Let's just talk about the Golden Girls for a minute, right? Let's like B. Arthur. What if B. Arthur was a veteran, right? Or Betty White was a veteran, right? Where do they? I don't even remember anyway. What if one of them was a veteran and all these ladies wanted to buy a house together, and they just living their lives. They did it. They did it together. They wanted to buy a house.
Golden Girls,
right? I'm B. Arthur. I'm Betty White. Actually, I'm Betty White. Betty White.
I always tell my daughter, I'm gonna be like Betty White when I get older.
Hell yeah, man. I am Betty White. I'm working it out. So Betty White says to Sophia or B or Rue McClanahan, who, anyway, she says to them, who wants to go in on this loan with me? We want to get a house big enough, whatever. That could happen, right?
Well, common law marriage, I don't know if they fit
no.
Put the 15% down.
Yes, the 15% down. So there's two sides to this. There's the 15% down. You could, do the Golden Girls style, or you could be living together long enough and verify with the government that they recognize you as now a common law marriage, so that it's not gone the other direction, which we don't do here in Nevada. That part we don't do here in Nevada. And you can take part in it. So I don't know, man. I'm looking at a Golden Girls setup. Who's got a VA benefit we can use? Let's go.
That's awesome. I love it.
So
Look
this is
pulling out Golden
listen,
Girls.
I'm stoked. Anyway, so this is a new rule for this year. This is exciting. I didn't know we were going to add that to the plan until we sat down to do this today for you. If you're a veteran, if you know a veteran, if you love a veteran, please let them know that this is a new rule, and start thinking a little bit more creatively, and also like realize that if you don't live in Nevada, still continue to reach out to us about loans, because Amber can help you in many, 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 many other states. We just need to do a graphic so we can put it up every time.
We do, yeah.
It's a lot, and we're not going to go into it, but it's a lot. But either way, I hope this was good information for you. Let's pop over to the comments and see what we got going on here. Okay, let's see. Dickie's Beer Reviews. First of all, great logo. I love the Dickie's Beer Reviews. He uses the Pabst Blue Ribbon. Yeah, I just filled out the Google form. Retired Air Force, looking for a new start. All right, Dickie. Well, I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Yes, me too.
Please text that phone number if something happens, you don't hear from us. The Google form's working really well for us these days. Dante says, happy you are together. Thank you, Dante. We are too.
We love it when we're together.
We are IRL or IRRL, depending on what you're in. Neil Warren says, good morning, ladies from South Pacific Ocean.
Good morning, Neil.
Neil makes me smile every time.
I'm telling you all kinds of news on that free money today, okay?
Use some sunscreen while you're out there, but give us a call. This is amazing. Fly like Dove. Hey, Dove. This is my sweet friend, Dove. She lives in New York City. She's amazing. Not a vet, but great knowledge to have. Vet.
Thank you.
We love you, Dove. Thank you. I owe her a phone call. This has been a crazy week this week, man. I owe about 12 people phone calls. This is not good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dove. I love you. I'm not ignoring you. It's been crazy.
It's spring buying in Vegas.
I just had to, so I'll tell you, I had all of my phone call blocks booked up this month. I'm so grateful, so honored that you guys are trusting us and reaching out. I have several hours on my week every week that are blocked for phone calls with you guys. And they all got booked up for February last week. And I had to open up more blocks for this month. And then March is already filling up. So we love you. We're excited. The energy to buy a house again is coming.
Love it. Let's do it.
I'm
working day and night.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be a part of your journey. Ladies, happy two of you together in the same place. Energy is different when we know. We know. Hey, John. Hey, hello. He says, John. I'm back. It's been about 6 months since I've been on here. John, we've missed you. We've missed you a lot. I remember John. John's got like all the goody information. He always brings really good questions.
Yeah.
Oh, John says he's here for me, Laci, with the heart eyes. John, how you doing, John? Neil, I'm a veteran. We know Neil. We love that you're a veteran. Sammy, hey, loves, happy Friday. Neil says if you don't have any disabilities and you do an IRL, it still costs money. Can we talk about that a little bit?
You mean, no, but what we're when you're doing an IRL, you'll always have some fees that go with the refinance, but you don't have we're talking about the VA funding fee, though. Yeah,
funding fee, not necessarily. Yeah, so it's two separate things.
Two separate things. You do have closing costs. That I'm glad Neil brought that up, though, because some veterans, when you're doing the loan,
Yep.
they're like, wait, I'm a veteran. I don't have closing costs. You still have closing costs. So we still have to see if we can get the seller to pay it, or you'll pay it, or however you're going to do the negotiation. You still do have closing costs. But the VA funding fee is separate. That adds to your payment.
Yes.
So you get that way. That's a separate thing, the closing costs. But thank you for bringing it up, because that is a common misconception.
And misconceptions are what we're trying to debunk here. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Sammy says, since it's tax season, do either of you know what difference a home purchase last year makes on this year's taxes?
That's a great question. I don't know. Do you know?
I know that there's depreciation and things like that. There's all kinds of stuff that you can put in there that relate to your house. So I would definitely talk to a tax professional. Sammy, I love you. Just text me. I can give you the guy that I use. Some really, really good information about what you can do write-offs for and what you can account for with your taxes. But it should make a little bit of a difference for sure. Should make a lot of a difference, actually. So let's talk. Tracy Johnson. Hi, Laci and Amber. Would it be wise to use a credit repair service? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm just not a big fan. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big, because I've seen too many that, I mean, there is some that I've seen people use that actually did a good job for them, but I don't know how their credit started either. So like, sometimes I feel like it's something that like,
it's just another
I
thing
can
to
run
buy.
a what if for you, and then help you to see if you do this, and this is what your score will go up to, and then you have to make the calls.
Yeah.
But I would normally have somebody to refer out on credit repair, and I don't, because
we've just been burned a couple times.
We've been burned. Yeah.
So what we do, just to reiterate, Tracy, is Amber's not a credit repair service. We don't offer credit repair services. However, sometimes you think that your credit is one thing and it's absolutely not, because the mortgage industry uses a completely different look on your credit to see what you can qualify for. We've had instances where people thought they had this credit at 725 and they actually had 425 and they had no idea. We've had instances, maybe not that long, 100 points, but we had big swings. And then also people who call and go, I have to fix my credit before I can buy. Amber looks at it and goes, what are you talking about? Your credit's 719 or whatever it is.
A house that day.
And they're not buying the house that day. So don't believe Credit Karma. All of that is BS. You have to talk to a lender, this beautiful one right here, who can look at all the information and just give you the scoop on what's reality when it comes to buying a home specifically. With that being said, so she can look at it, she can give you an idea, and then give suggestions like she's talking about. If you need credit repair service, I'm going to start looking at finding somebody who we trust, but it's unfortunately it's trial and error, right? It's trial and error. If you are watching this and you are a credit repair service and you want to show us your history, your track record,
and just know I'm going to drill you.
We're going to call past clients. We're going to ask them, we're definitely very big on making sure we're not recommending anybody that's not on top of it. Let us know. Please just text that phone number and give me your information. We'd love to reach out. Okay. Good question, Tracy. Christopher Battle. Hey, Christopher. So my dad is a vet, but my wife and I are not. Can we use him to get the VA loan? First of all, we don't use our veterans, Christopher. I'm just kidding. Do you want to collaborate with your dad to get a veteran loan? That's a good question.
People do ask this all the time. Like if you can, so if the vet's going to live with you, if your dad's going to, because remember the VA loan is strictly for the veteran and they have to live in the property.
Right.
So dad's got to live there.
If we're taking care of dad, if we're getting that extra bedroom downstairs, that casita, whatever, right?
And then if you're going to live in the house with them, most of the time you're qualifying just on dad's income if you're trying to do 100% VA. But if you're going to live in the house with him and you're not another veteran, then you'd have to look at that 15% down type of loan.
Good question, though.
But it is,
really
and people ask that all the time. So great question.
But dad's got to be in the house. He's got to literally be in the house. Okay. JF, great question. Typically, how long do you have to be a Nevada resident to qualify for most programs? Do they ever have programs for out-of-state residents who invest in Nevada? Before I even let you jump in here, let me just say this right now. I've had people, I'm not kidding, maybe 5 in the last week tell me that they were told by other realtors and other lenders, I don't know what lenders they were talking to, that they had to live in Nevada for 2 years before they could buy a home here, because you cannot qualify to buy a home unless you've lived in Nevada for 2 years. That could not be the more wrong comment.
I can't believe they even actually said that.
It might not have been, the lender might have said something different, but the realtor, she sent me the email from the realtor. It physically said in the email, you must live in Nevada for 2 years before you can buy a home. And I said, well, who the hell trained that person on their job?
Yeah,
not the
that's
case.
Crazy.
We sell homes. We do 99% relocation for my team. 99% of people who watch my channel are looking to relocate. That's you. If that's you, I want to talk to you. And why would I be doing this and talking to people out loud, very loudly on a daily basis, who have to wait 2 years before they could buy? Do you think that feeds my family and gets us dialed in on making home ownership possible? It does not. So be careful with who you're spending time with, and be careful with getting one piece of information and believing it's true. Please do your research starting here. Amber, what typically does it take for you to live in Nevada to qualify for a loan?
So a lot of times people are moving to Nevada when they work from home. So
Mhm.
their job isn't here, right? And they're just moving here because Las Vegas is a really cool place.
It's amazing.
We can't speak for all of Nevada, but Las Vegas is a really cool place, right? So that happens. Sometimes you're getting a job transfer, and then we just show the transfer paperwork and what you're going to get paid when you move here, and then we qualify you on the transfer. So sometimes if you're doing that, you can have a house before you even like start your job.
We do that a lot, actually.
And
yeah.
then sometimes people are getting a new job in Las Vegas, so they provide a job offer letter that tells us like, hey, we're going to be hired as of this date, getting paid this much, working this many hours. So we'll close it based off the job offer letter. Sometimes you close that way too before you even start the job.
There's no
So you
requirement
don't
for
have to-
living in Nevada for a period of time to
I don't
have
even
to
know
qualify.
where
I've
that
never
would
heard
have
of that.
come
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I think that comes from, and we'll answer the next part in a second about out-of-state programs, but where that comes from, I think, is a lot of people get confused into thinking you have to do a job. Let's say I was doing marketing admin for some company, and then I went and did marketing for another company, but because I changed jobs, I now have to stay in that job for 2 years before I can buy a home. That's not the case. It's industry. People, when they change a full industry and go from being a nurse to a firefighter, or go from being a firefighter to, I don't know, to a lender, right?
We could put a nurse to a firefighter.
Yeah, actually, that would
together all the
work.
time.
That would work. Yeah.
But the other thing too might be is, remember, some of the grant programs do have.
Yes.
So like if they're but never 2 years.
No.
So that's probably what you said. But
Yeah.
some of the grants do have like some grants that come out that are very specific, and they give a lot of money. Like when we
Free
have
money,
that, we're
right.
going to really bring it out,
Right.
you know. But sometimes the grants will determine like, hey, you have to live in Nevada. I think one of them
So
says
6 months. Yeah.
but I've never heard 2 years. But it's probably because of what Laci just said with the employment.
Absolutely. So all that being said, we're really just want to make sure that you're getting the right information. So there's no qualification really to be a Nevada resident to qualify for those. Again, maybe free money, but not loans. And then when it comes to out-of-state programs to invest in Nevada, what can we talk about? There's the DSCR loans. There's a bunch of loan programs.
Well, okay. So if you're out of state, you could do it. And it depends on how you're buying the house too.
Yeah.
Like, what are your intentions? Are you buying it to rent? Are you buying it for a second home? Are you buying it to put your parents in it? Are you buying it to put your kids in it? Like, there's so many different programs that you could do. So those details do matter.
Yep. So we want to know, but there's a lot of programs. So JF, just click the link in the description, or you can just text that phone number. Let's set up a phone call. I'm happy to answer these questions. I'll probably pass you over to Amber. She can answer more questions, but there's a lot of nuance in all of that. But I just wanted to make sure I made it very loud and clear that you do not have to live in Nevada for a long period of time at all before you can buy a house here. Otherwise, I would not have this job. Neil says, Laci, I know you do sales, but do you do property management? When I purchase my new primary residence, I'm going to rent out my place that I currently own. Neil, thank you for asking. That's a really great question. I, on purpose, choose to avoid doing property management at all costs. I do not want to work with people who I have to chase down for their rent payments. That's just not an interest of mine. It would wear on me personally, and I probably would jump off a building, honestly. So, but here's what we do. We have a lot of really great relationships in town. So like we were talking about with the credit repair companies, how we vet you, we make sure you're actually legit. We know that you're good. You have good reviews. You have good testimonials from past clients. We're going to do the same thing. So I have a couple of really amazing property management companies that I personally know. One of them, actually, I've went to junior high school with this guy, and we've stayed very close in touch. And he's just really good at his job, and he's been doing it for 25 years. And he's hands-on. Like, what I don't like is property management companies are these big corporations that have a lot of extra added fees, and a lot of BS, and they hassle and harass your tenants, which then creates a real disdain and more issues than need to be there. If you have someone that's hands-on, very, very focused on having that service quality be there, and they don't charge an arm and a leg, we're going to recommend them to you. So let me know, and I'm happy to connect you with my guy. I love that. John says, I want to get married. I want to get married someday. VA loans, Golden Girls, I'm lost. Let me revisit that real quick, because I really do think this is important. One of the new rules that we talked about today was the fact that a non-veteran can be added to a loan, which was not allowed before. I made the joke that if you were living with friends and they wanted to come up with the 15% down to be added to the loan with the veteran who's also in the house, I'll pretend to be the veteran. That is an option now. The other component to that, if I'm saying it incorrectly, tell me wrong. Okay. Tell me I'm wrong. Is common law marriage. That doesn't apply here in Nevada because we don't recognize common law marriage to our knowledge, at least from what I know.
Mhm.
That's the other component. But you know what? I want you to get married someday too. So let's just focus on that. All righty. Let me get that to go away and then we'll go back here. Okay. We got a couple more. And then I'm definitely excited to just remind you guys next week, me by myself, all my lonesome. I'm going to be here all by my damn self because this girl's going to be doing something
Keep her company. She needs to be kept.
Come keep me company. I need friends, people. I need friends. Next week at noon on Friday, I will be here by myself doing this AMA. Ask me anything about Las Vegas, about myself. Ask me on a date, whatever you got. I'm here for it. Super excited to talk to you guys about that. It's going to be so fun. And then Amber's going to be doing something very cool and special that we'll, I guess, get to tell you after the fact, but I'm really excited for you. That's all I have to say. And so stoked. So next week's Ask Me Anything. The week after that, Amber and I are going to be back together in the same room, I hope. You're not going out of town, right?
It always feels better when we're in the same
always
room.
Together. I know. I'll bring a costume. We'll make it fun. We'll do some fun stuff. But we're going to be talking about the Fed and the news, and just we're going to be talking about bullshit that happens in the universe that affects us and how you need to be aware of it so that you can understand and not believe everything that you're told from the news media, or just understand that when there's an announcement like this, here's how it affects you.
Look at it in a decipher. That's what we're going to talk about.
I love it. Last question today, guys. Want to say thank you again before we answer Adam's question here. Just want to say thank you so much. Thank you as always for being so amazing.
You
I've
too.
missed you.
Back at you.
Love you. Just want to let you guys know we're so grateful for you. Please make sure you subscribe and please send this to a veteran. Even if you aren't close with them, just send this link to a veteran. We want to make sure everybody learns about my Golden Girls experience that I just talked about, but also just has a chance to really feel like there's people who care and who trust that we're going to be doing the right thing for you. So, okay. Adam, appreciate your channel, and I'm looking to buy in Vegas. It's harder to qualify for a loan if last year I was, is it harder to qualify if I was all W-2 income and now most of my income is 1099 because I now own a small business? Really, really good question. Let's talk about it.
Question. Unfortunately, it is a little bit harder. So so when you're at W-2 income, like a lot of times when you're W-2, you're making an hourly rate or a salary.
Right.
If it's hourly, it's times a certain amount of hours, and then it's easier to calculate your income, right?
Right.
But when you own your own business, that business ebb and flows with what you make and what your bills cost to be able to pay that business to go. So because of that, as the 1099, we have to show a 2-year history. In some cases, it can be 1 year. But if the business is newer, most of the time it's going to be 2-year history to be able to, qualify, like just to show how much income that you're doing. And it'd be very careful on what you're also like filing on your taxes, because that's what's going to matter. We're going to have to look at the tax returns to prove the income.
There is the loan for small business owners and things like that as well, though, right? That came out. We talked about it last year, how if you are someone who does write off a lot of things because of your business and things like that, there are loan programs that if you go that route, that can be looked at, right?
Yeah. So as the alternative, if you want to write off a lot of stuff on your taxes and stuff like that, as an alternative, you can do like a bank statement loan, where we can look at your deposits in your bank account and take a certain percentage of those as the income on your file to be able to qualify you. Those do require a larger down payment. So it depends on how much down payment you're going to put, and the rates are higher on those too.
Adam, though, I mean, if it's been a year, it sounds like you got a year in. Congratulations on being a small business owner. That's awesome. So grateful that you watch the channel. Even if you just want to reach out and connect early, I'm happy to do a phone call with you. Happy to get you connected to Amber so that we can gear you up and get you ready for when that second year is fulfilled, and we can get you ready to buy a house. But super excited. If you have if you have someone else that wants to maybe invest with you, Amber can look at all this.
But get to start a game plan. It's never too early to start a game plan. Then at least you know what you need to aim for.
I just talked to somebody the other day, one of my favorite phone calls from this week with, again, so many of you that reach out to us. It's just it's the highlight of my week, honestly, when I get to I'm getting chills. And when I get to talk to you guys, because I get to hear your story and what's pulling you here and what's getting you excited about moving to Vegas. And it just warms my heart. I get to relive that moment that I moved to Vegas, and when I was 9 years old, and looked around and said, oh, I'm home. These are my people. Like I remember that. So I get to relive it with you. And one of my favorite things that someone said to me was, one thing that I love about you and I love about your energy with Amber is that you guys are both authentically honest about everything. We're not here trying to jam loans down your throat. We're not here telling you buy. We're telling you, if you want that, we want to help you get there. And she also said, which was really,
I love it.
Yeah, it was really a little bit sad to me that she had tried to reach out to other agents and other people to see if she could get help with moving here, and nobody, as soon as she filled out a form or she called them, nobody was willing to continue the conversation beyond that moment when she said, I'm not moving for another 2 years. They don't want to talk to you unless you're moving within the next 3 to 6 months, because everyone is now. And we have from day one always been, I don't care if you're moving in 25 years. I don't care. If you're dreaming, let me help you dream a little bit, right? It doesn't mean we need to be talking 24/7 every day, because that's not necessarily productive, but I will be available and be a resource. And I know that we have worked with clients for 5 years. 5 years. We've been doing this. How long have we been doing this? 6 years now? 7 years almost? 7 years.
I think it's been 7 years.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
We've been doing these things together for 6 or 7 years. And we've had clients who early on came to us and said, I'm never going to be able to buy a house, but you convinced me in your video to call you. So I'm calling you anyway.
We love those calls.
We love them.
We love those
and
calls.
those people are now multiple homeowners, but some of them took 5 years to qualify. Some of them, they just kept checking in with us for 5 freaking years. And now they own a home.
Keep
and
that dream alive.
Please, guys, trust me when I tell you, I say this all the time. I don't care if you buy a house, but that's a lie. I do care if you buy a house. I want you to invest. This city is on the precipice of what every other major city saw when they were on the come up, right? Everybody, oh, it's too expensive there now. Is it? Go look around the country at New York and LA. Tell me when the home prices look like they do right now. It's been a minute, right? Yeah. So if you want to be a part of this city, I do want you to buy a house, but I'm not going to not talk to you if you don't want to yet, or if that's not even a part of your plan. So please lean in. Amber and I are wholeheartedly here for you. We love you. We're authentic. I mean, we're kind of no bullshit. I know you don't say those bad words, but I certainly do. And we're the golden girls here for you, waiting to make it happen.
Are we? We're not the Golden Girls yet. Okay?
We're the new version of the Golden Girls. I can shimmy like. Have you seen that thing with?
They were so adorable.
I watched the Golden Girls when I was like 7 years old. Like, I love Golden Girls. But Betty White does this like thing where she's shimmying, walking into a room. I'm like, I'm Betty White.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, that would be.
We can't both be Betty White, so maybe I'll be someone else. Who knows?
Who was the redhead? What was
Rue McClanahan? I can't think of her name right now. Sophia. Betty White, or no, Betty White's not even her real name in the show. I can't remember, but Rue McClanahan is the one that's a little saucy. I could be her. Well, hello, everybody. So thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. I will see you next Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time. I will be putting it up so you can register for that by the end of day today. I'm stoked. It's the new year, baby. My calendar's filling up.
Your year's just started, but your year just started. You're on the Chinese New Year.
I'm ready to go. Let's go. Snap, snap, snap. Love you guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.